What is up, guys? Thank you for tuning back in to my channel. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and be sure to share. I appreciate any comments that you guys leave. So pretty much today's video, I'm going to be going over how I started my bodybuilding journey and kind of what got me in the gym. I've been getting this question a couple times from different people that kind of want to know how I started. For the people that are closest to me, you know, they were pretty much there through my whole journey. Some of my closest friends, my girlfriend, my family. But for people that, you know, I haven't met or don't know me personally through social media and stuff like that, I'm just going to go in detail on pretty much what got me started and what keeps me motivated in the gym and to continue, you know, on this journey. Get a swig real quick. Going back to when, you know, I was younger, I guess had an athletic background growing up. My main sport was football. I started playing football at the age of 5. So, you know, growing up playing from 5 years old, you know, I consider myself pretty good, and I was very passionate about football. And of course, you know, like any young kid, that's what I wanted to do as my, you know, career. That was my dream, is, you know, to make it to a D1 college and to play at a big school. Realistically, you know, once I got to my freshman year in high school at America's, where I went, I played freshman year, I did good, and I made varsity my sophomore year. When I got to varsity, you know, it was a big change. Of course, bigger guys, a lot more competition. So I wasn't starting. I was on special teams, kick return, punt return, pretty much every special team. It kind of took the passion out of it for me because I wasn't getting as much playing time. And at practices, you know, being on the sideline, kind of watching everyone go full speed, it kind of took that excitement out for me. So when I did have that time to be on the field, I tried to take it as seriously as I could. But, you know, for the most part, being on the sideline a lot, there was a lot of horsing around. So it kind of took that seriousness away from it. At some point, you know, I had to be realistic with myself. You know, 5'5", you know, I was at the time in high school, I weighed 150 pounds, 154. And, you know, I was in decent shape. I didn't have abs. I was kind of a chubby kid growing up. Not chubby, I would say big boned. Had somewhat of a stocky build always. But that was my biggest goal, you know, starting was I just wanted abs. That was the main thing for me. And I think that's a big thing for like a lot of people. You know, when you first start off, it's, you know, coming from a kid that is a little bit, you know, I guess, yeah, on the chubbier side, that's how I was. That was my main goal, is I wanted abs, you know. Working out wise, we had workouts at school in the morning, 6 a.m. to after school workouts if we weren't practicing. So I guess that's when I really started to actually work out in the gym. But it was more like basic, you know, basic workouts. At America's, we did a lot of like circuit trainings with the coaches. So we had an upper body day, you know, all the fundamentals. So barbell bench, incline bench, dumbbells, curls, and then we had our lower body circuit, which was, you know, barbell squats, jump squats with the medicine ball, like medicine ball slams, leg extensions, ham curls, and then box jumps. So all of those different things, you know, so it was pretty intense. I did enjoy it. I guess the only bad thing that I didn't like was, you know, the early mornings, since I'm not a morning person. So having to be up at 6 a.m., you know, and back then, like, I didn't know anything about dieting, so I would just get straight up out of bed and I would go work out, you know, with no food in me. So of course I was dying, you know, but you know, I didn't know any better, which is, you know, normal. Pretty much, yeah, through high school, that's how I started. Was, you know, once I got a little bit more familiar with the workouts and stuff. I wasn't the strongest in the gym, no, but I wasn't, you know, the weakest either. I was pretty good with my strength and my ability to perform in the gym as well as on the field. And it wasn't until the end of my sophomore year in varsity that I decided, you know what, like, I'm gonna quit. Like, I'm not gonna pursue football anymore. I kind of lost my interest. I lost my passion. So it's kind of like I was dreading to go to practice. I was dreading, you know, to just go after school and have to be there. It was, you know, because high school football is an investment in time. It's a big responsibility. And, that's props to everyone that did stick through it and did put, the hard work and dedication. It is a full-time thing. You wake up 6 a.m., you're at workouts, and then you got to go through your school day, and then you got to be again, another 2 hours after school on top of, work and everything. So I do give a lot of props to like football players. That is a big, big accomplishment and a big responsibility. But it just wasn't my passion anymore. So after I quit, I told myself, you know what? Well, I'm gonna get in shape. Like, and at this time I had no idea about bodybuilding. I had one of my friends at the time, that was into bodybuilding, and he's actually the one that introduced it to me. His name is Noé, and he introduced me to bodybuilding. He was showing me, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and at the time I didn't know about any of this. And I was going to the Mega EP Fitness on Lee Trevino here in El Paso. That's where I first started going. And pretty much once I quit football, I try to keep that same strictness. So I remember me and him would both go to EP Fitness at 5 a.m. We would do our workout, and then we'd go to shower there, go to school right after. And right after school, we'd go back to the gym, do another workout, and then do cardio. And that was our day. And that was, I was set on getting in shape, so I try to keep that discipline. That was my goal, and a lot of people didn't think, that I was going to take it serious, and I did. That was, one of my biggest motivations is once I quit football, everyone, I guess, you quit football, you go from being, a football player to becoming a quitter. So, yeah, it did kind of motivate me a little bit because I wanted to prove people wrong. And the funny thing is, 5 a.m., there's not a lot of young people in the gym, so it was nothing but, older men in the mornings in the showers, and kind of awkward, rocking around in your underwear and shit. I remember that being early in the mornings, and I was like, what the fuck? So it was like older men like asking us shit, and I'm like, yo, like I'm younger than you, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So that's how it started. And then at the time I was just eating healthy. I remember eating just chicken and fish with whatever meals or whatever carbs I could think of, mainly rice. But breakfast, I was eating waffles, different things, like, nothing really serious, whatever protein shakes I would buy. And then at the time I was going to Just Fit Foods. Like, at America's, they didn't have an open campus, so I would literally have to sneak out if I wanted to go get a meal. And I had this big ass F-150, and it was loud as shit. And I remember eventually, people caught on to like people leaving at lunch, so they would close the gates. And me having a big ass truck, I was like, well, fuck this, like, I'm gonna go. And I really didn't care, so I would literally jump the curve at America's, and I would go get my food, and I would come back, and there was always like the security guard that was there, and I would like always have an excuse. So if she would catch me, I would always have like, oh, like I needed to get my binder from home and shit, when I lived way farther from America's. So sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but for the most part, that's the way I did it. From there, then, it was in the beginning just getting little bits of information from different people. And I think that's how everybody, starts off is, you see someone, bigger than you, and, that's more cut, and you want to automatically, oh, like, yo, what are you taking? What are you eating? What do you do? It's normal. It's normal to ask those questions. But a lot of the times, you ask some of these people and you get misinformed, because not everybody knows what they're talking about. Some people, have the genetics that just kind of give them that look without, doing things properly, and, hey, granted to them, they're able to get away with it. But I mean, in my position, I wasn't genetically, I was big boned, and I was trying to get cut and have abs, so it was cardio, it was dieting. I was in high school, so I was still having cheat meals here and there, and when I did, party, I would drink, but I knew if I wanted to get any further that I had to stop all of that. So talking about getting misinformation, yeah, I was just asking different people, about different things, and just different type of supplements, different methods, and just trying to get whatever I could. So during that time, I was probably 16, 17, and I'll drop a picture here of how I looked at that time. So I was able to get myself to where I wanted, definition wise. I had abs, I had my obliques showing, I was pretty cut, so I was happy. But then I was like, shit, well, I want to get bigger, you know. So at that time, my friend, you know, and I were just trying to change things up, you know, eat a little bit more. And I remember like us spending the night at his house and smoking, and then eating like fucking 400, no, not 400, like PB and J's and like two to three protein shakes all at one time, just trying to like cram whatever we could, you know, not knowing shit. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. And during that time, I was looking for a job, so I was trying to apply at different places. I couldn't get a job anywhere. So I knew a girl that I went to school with, and she actually worked at Show Offs before I even knew about it. And I had asked her, like, hey, like, do you know if they're hiring there at the gym? And she was like, oh, well, I can ask for you and stuff. So I was like, all right, cool, let me know. And I never heard back from her. So, you know, some time went by, and I was still looking, and I couldn't get hired anywhere. So I was literally fed up, and I was like, well, fuck this. Like, I'm gonna go apply at McDonald's. I'm like, you know, it's better to be making something than nothing. And literally the day that I was gonna go apply, she called me and she was like, hey, like, can you start today? And I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, I'm on my way. So I went, and I was literally like I remember I was like in khakis, a belt, and a polo, and I had my shit tucked in, you know, like trying to look professional, whatever, or semi, you know. And I pulled up. It was a Sunday, so they were working the kitchen, so they had to get they were packing all the meals and stuff, and she was gonna show me like what they do on Sundays, how they pack the meals, what I was gonna be doing. And I walk into the kitchen, and you know, she's there. Her name was Danielle. Freddie, my trainer, that, you know, now I didn't know him back then. That's when I first met him. Our other friend Tony, and one of the other guys. So I walk in looking like this, and they're all looking at me like, what the fuck are you wearing? And I was like, oh well, shit, I didn't get the memo, you know. They're all like chilling in like, you know, gym clothes, and they're all like casual. So I was like, all right, well, fuck it. And you know, my first day it was kind of you know, I was a new guy, so I was getting a lot of shit, you know. So it was funny though. It was my first time meeting all of them, so I got a lot of shit. And you'll see in the pictures the way I looked back then is completely different from the way I look now, face-wise, hair-wise, everything. So it was a completely different look. So I got a lot of people calling me fucking Bruno Mars and shit like that. But you know, it was, I mean, I could take the heat. It wasn't a big deal. And well, yeah, that's how I met Freddie, my trainer, and pretty much working there. You know, it was a cool environment being around, you know, people that you know, are into fitness and to, you know, competing and stuff. And I had never been exposed to anything like that. I didn't even know about the gym. And you know, at the time I was excited about it. I was like, oh yeah, I was telling my friends and stuff. So we would go work out there late at night, and I remember like, and you know, some people will contest to this, is like I'd be working out late at night, and then, you know, of course, like go straight to the mirrors, take my shirt off and shit, and just be posing, not knowing what the hell I was doing. So yeah, it was fun. And pretty much from there, and I was like, well, I was like, people had kind of like told me like, oh, you should consider competing, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I don't know, I was like, it's not really something that I'm like too interested about. And because at the time I didn't know anything about bodybuilding. And then I kind of kept considering it, and I was like, you know what, like, yeah, I probably should. So then it was a question of like, people would tell me, oh, well, you need to get a coach, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, all right, well, let me, you know, look around and see which one of the trainers that I can hire. And I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any of the trainers like on a personal level. I had barely started working there. It was probably like my third week there. So I was kind of asking around who was good and whatnot. And pretty much everyone that I talked to guided me to Freddie. You know, he had the most experience with competitors, and you know, he had been through competitions himself. He knew what he was talking about. So I was like, all right, cool. So then I ended up starting with Freddie. And yeah, he pretty much told me straight out like what it was going to be like. And it was kind of like an ego check for me, because our first day was a fucking leg day, and he was like, all right, like, what do you squat? Like, what's your max? And I was like, we had warmed up already, and I was like, the last time we maxed, I was like, I did like 2 plates, a quarter, and a 10. And he's like, all right, let's see. He's like, put 2 plates. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right. So we put 2 plates on, and I was like, I barely knocked out like fucking 8, and I was struggling. He's like, all right, yeah. He's like, is that a quarter? I was like, fuck. So, you know, it's completely different from what I was used to. Me working out on my own, it was nothing but upper body. You know, I would do legs, but not anything compared to what I do now for legs. It was a big wake up call to you know, for me and my training style. And I think it's like that for everybody, you know, once you really go through a workout with, you know, anybody, or at least me and Freddie at the gym, then it's like, oh shit, you know, I've been doing leg days wrong all this time. So yeah, it was shit. And it's like, it didn't get any better as I progressed. You know, leg days really don't get any better. You just get more mentally prepared for them. And that's what it was. I was still, I believe I had just turned 17. I just turned 16. I was still 16. And, well, yeah, I was weighing 154 when I started with him. He's like, all right, well, we need to put some muscle on you. Like, you need to grow. And then after that, then we can pick a show. I was like, all right, cool. So we bulked up to about 176 when I, you know, started with him the first couple of months, probably 4 or 5 months. And then after that, he's like, all right, well, we're going to start, you know, we picked a show, and it was the Sun City Regional here in El Paso for my first show. And I was at the age of 16. And pretty much, you know, I gave myself like I think a 16 week prep. And, you know, I got on stage at 160, from 175 to 160, you know, and that was like as muscular as I could look. And of course, you know, my posing wasn't all that, but it was my first show. So I ended up getting third in team bodybuilding in a class of 2 other guys. I was the third one. And I also did classic physique that first year, and I got second in that class. You know, so I was happy with the turnout of what I got. From there, it was just kind of like I got hooked. So I was like super happy. This was my sophomore year, and at the time I was dating my girl. You know, I was still with my girlfriend Celeste, and it was like an adjustment for both of us, because it was something that I had never been through, and something that we had never been through. We had never been through in a relationship. You know, a lot of the things that people don't understand about prepping, it is a lot of stress if you don't have everything in order. So for one, you know, money. I was in high school. I didn't have to worry about, you know, work so much. I had a part-time job at the gym. And, you know, I had my mom. My mom helped me out a lot. So my first show, I had my mom paying for like all of my groceries. And yeah, pretty much, you know, whatever money that I got from the gym, I would spend on supplements and, you know, gym clothes. That's what it was. It does take a toll on your mentality, I guess, you know, because if you don't have these things in order, on top of, you know, having to train, having to follow a diet, you know, being carb depleted, having to do cardio, then you tend to stress out, and you tend to, you know, take it out on other people. So that first prep was kind of like hard for not just me, but, you know, the people around me too, because it was my first time. And, you know, sometimes I'd get in my moods, and I would take it out on my girlfriend or on my mom, you know, not on purpose, but not, you know, me not realizing it. I think when everybody starts working out, or at least like the competitive, you know, bodybuilding, you tend to be like a little bit, I don't want to say over motivated, because there really isn't such thing as over motivated, but you want to go all in. At least I did. I wanted to go all in. So it was like, I try to take it, you know, as serious as I could. And, you know, me being at the age of 16, you know, I had all of my friends, you know, partying and doing their things. And, you know, I had this goal. I didn't want to do any of that. Like, I didn't want to do the normal thing. So, of course, you know, me having a girlfriend too, it was hard, because, you know, she wanted to go out. She wanted to do these things. And I didn't want to do that. It was because I was trying to do a show. And, yeah, it did cause some problems, but, you know, that was my first time doing it, and we stuck through it, and she was able to be there for me, you know, till the very end. And every show, you know, just got kind of better and better. Pretty much from there, then I was like, I kind of got hooked, so I wanted to do another one. My second show I did in LA. I wanted to go out of town, you know, after doing, you know, seeing how I could do here, I wanted to try and go out of town and see, you know, how I looked against other people. So I did my second show in Los Angeles. I did the Muscle Beach Excalibur, and that was, the Sun City was on August 10th, I believe, somewhere around there. I had just turned 17 August 9th. So it was like the next weekend, I think, after my birthday. I did that show, and then the Excalibur was in December. So I told Freddie, like, yo, I want to do another show, and he was all for it. So I kind of rebounded, and then I did the Excalibur also, December. And that was another adjustment for me, you know, prepping through the holidays, something I never done before either. And so that was hard, you know, eating just turkey and rice on Thanksgiving. and seeing everyone else eating around, it was hard, but it was good because I liked the discipline. And something that I think I've always held about myself is like I'd always like being different, doing things that not everybody's doing. I think that's something that I've always liked to do, not being the norm or the average person. That's just always been me. I've always wanted to kind of stand out in a way, and so being able to keep that discipline and have people see that, it felt good. It wasn't hard for me. Of course, my first shows I had my slip ups. My first prep I ate a whole fucking lasagna by myself. I got high, and yeah, I had my meal and I said fuck my meal, and I ate a whole lasagna and a bag of Rolos. I don't even fucking like Rolos. I just ate the whole bag. So of course I had to confess that to Freddie, and I had to make up for it. But different every prep I had some little mess ups, but it got better over time as I learned. So yeah, I did my show in LA in December 3rd, and I ended up there was no teens. I was the only teen in the whole show. So I didn't want to compete by myself in teens. I was like, oh, fuck that. So I ended up just doing the novice and the open. And novice, I got third, and open, I got like fifth in the open. But I was the youngest one. I was 17 years old, nothing but bigger guys, and actually Colin Von Moger was there at that show. I don't know if you guys have seen Generation Iron, the first one, where it's like introducing Colin Von Moger, and he's there doing his show. He was actually at that show, and that's the first time I've ever met Colin Von Moger. So it was pretty cool. I was backstage. I was like, I didn't know anybody, so I was just kind of there, like minding my own business, and everybody was cool. If you've ever done a show, or anybody that's watching that's done a show, it's always before prejudging, everyone's serious as shit. Everyone's in their zone. They're hungry, fucking craving something to drink, and then after prejudging, everybody comes back after they've eaten, and everyone's super fucking friendly. And that's how it was. So I saw Colin, and I remember following him on Instagram, so I already knew who he was, and he was vlogging backstage, like his pump up and everything. So I was like, oh shit, that's cool. And I remember talking to him, but I didn't get a picture with him. But yeah, it was cool seeing him there. He ended up winning, the overall for that show and shit. So it was cool. But yeah, after that, then I pretty much, went into an off season and just pretty much, trying to gain more muscle. I think through my whole time in fitness, it's kind of been a learning experience through everything. I've had my faults, my things that I've done wrong, but it's been about learning throughout the whole journey. That bulk, I did get fat. It was just a matter of me I told myself, I was like, all right, well, I want to get to 200 pounds, but I was just stuffing food in my face. And yeah, I got fat, but I got to 195 and I was like, shit, like I can't go no more. Like I can't. And, it was uncomfortable. I remember I was a junior then in high school. So, junior gonna be a senior, I think. I remember going to first period, and I was like, I had it upstairs, and I'd like be running up the stairs, like being late and shit, and I was like, shit, and I'd be like heaving, or what the fuck's the word? Panting. I'd be like fucking panting, like leaning over. I was like, oh shit, like fuck, I'm out of shape. And then I remember another time, like in the shower, shaving my ass, and I was trying to like shave, and I couldn't turn my fucking my fat wouldn't let me turn. I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, yeah, like I need to start fucking cutting. So I was able to learn different things as I progressed, and that's kind of why now in my off season I try and stay as much in shape as I can, because it makes it so much harder when you get that big and then trying to cut back down to your stage weight. So from going to 200 pounds to having a weight on stage 175 is way different. Currently right now, waking up at 183 in the mornings. At the end of the day, I'm probably 10 pounds heavier, so 193 with 6 meals in me, and my stage weight is 175. So I'm still fairly lean, but I look bigger. But of course, my stage weight has to be 175. That's just how it is for me right now. So it's comfortable, and I still feel good. I'm able to move. I can bend over and tie my shoes, and I'm not fucking suffocating. So I like it. It's a lot better, being able to still do cardio daily and things like that. but it definitely has been a learning experience. It was kind of a little bit different, you know, me going through high school and being into bodybuilding. I guess not a lot of people were used to it, you know, so I was kind of looked at weird when, and this is, I mean, fitness here in El Paso was barely getting, you know, big. I'd be at lunch at school and, you know, I'd be heating up my prep meals there in the chef's class or whatever. And, you know, some people sure, yeah, would make fucking fun of me, whatever. You know, but it wasn't a big deal when I looked, you know, when I first started, you know, people would laugh and shit, and, you know, I knew who it was, but I didn't care. It was, you know, it was what I wanted, and that's what I was trying to do. I didn't really care what anyone else had to say. And then, of course, you know, once I started getting progress and people started seeing, then it was kind of like, oh shit, well, you know, he is taking it serious. Like, let's ask him for help now. And, you know, of course, I wasn't an asshole, but, you know, I came at a price now. You know, once I started personal training, then, you know, the information that I had worked so hard to getting and learning, you know, then it wasn't for free anymore. It was cool being able to go through that in school and, you know, still be able to get through it. You know, I would wake up and I'd have, like, I knew what periods I was able to get meals in and what periods I couldn't. You know, so some teachers wouldn't let me eat, others were lenient about it. My whole senior year, I had a work study class, so I would get out of school at like 1:30, and right after that, I started personal training my senior year. So right after school, I would go to the gym. I had my first client at 2, and then I had a client every hour, so 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, up until 8 o'clock. I would finish with my last client at 9, and then I would start my workout like at 9:30. I wouldn't finish till about, you know, with my workout on my cardio, about 11:30, and then I'd go home, do whatever homework I had to do, and then go to bed. And then that was pretty much my whole senior year, but I didn't mind it because it was what I loved. I was passionate about it. With my relationship, there was ups and downs, you know, to it. If you know me and my girlfriend, or even if you don't, we were always kind of different. My girlfriend was very, you know, very sweet girl, very caring. She was always like the outgoing one. She wanted to be at every school function and every activity that they fucking had because she was in student council. And I was the complete opposite. I was like, fuck this, like, I'm trying to graduate. And I didn't want anything to do, you know, with anybody. I was just kind of to myself. Not because I didn't like anyone, you know, but that was just me. Kind of like an introvert, I guess. But I had my close circle of friends and, you know, the people that I fucked with. And that's just how it was. And even then, I'm still like that, you know. I'm very close. I'm nice to everyone. Everyone thinks that I'm an asshole, you know, because I guess I tend to have this serious, like, look all the time. But I'm actually a very nice person. So don't get misconceived. That's pretty much, you know, how me and my girlfriend were. There was times where she wanted to be at certain things, and I was like, no, you know what, I can't. Like, I'm in prep. Like, I can't go. You know, so she would go on her own, and, you know, I wouldn't go because, you know, I either had to do cardio or I couldn't miss meals. But because that was what I was willing to do. Like, I wanted it that bad. I wanted to win. If I did a show, it wasn't just to, you know, at that point I had already done 2 shows, so I was like, going to my 3rd, 4th show, I was like, no, like, I want to win. Like, I don't want to keep getting, you know, I hadn't gotten first place at all yet. So it was like, shit, like, no, like, I need to stay strict because I want to win. And once it got to a certain point of me, you know, knowing that this is what I wanted to do, I was like, I've invested so much into this, like, I want to take it serious now. Like, I want to try and get to the pro level. So that's when, like, kind of like my girlfriend realized, okay, like, you know, this is what he does, this is who he is, and, you know, she accepted it, and she's been the biggest support for me ever since, you know. So she's adjusted to everything, and yeah, I mean, we still run into little things here and there, but, you know, we always adjust. So the biggest thing that I think I've learned through, like, me competing is not ruining relationships just because of a show, you know. In the beginning, I had that mentality of, you know, if it fucks with my prep, I'm not going to do it at all. I'm not even going to try and stress over it, whether it's a family function or if it's a date. Runs into anything to do with my prep, I'm not going to risk it. And, you know, I've learned to balance a lot of things. You know, if, you know, for one, like, dates with my girlfriend, you know, even now in preps, we'll still go out to eat, you know. depending on how close I am to the show, I'll talk to my coach like, hey, like I'm trying to go on a date, like what can I eat? He'll let me eat certain things. If I'm too close, and he'll tell me like, no, like take your meal. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, like, and sometimes it's kind of awkward to be that guy at the restaurant having your own food, but I really don't care. That's just me. I'm at that point to where I really don't care what people think. It was a big change, and it was something that we got through together. Even like friends wise, I would always try my best to, like, when I wasn't getting into a prep, to spend as much time as I could with all of my friends, and that's when we'd have the most fun, smoking. And I'm not a big drinker, so I would just smoke sometimes. And, we would just stay in, play games. I really don't like to go out. So I would, pretty much stay in, or I'd have things at my house, with all of us just chilling, hanging out. And that's pretty much what it was, because they knew when I got in prep that I was going to be a little bit more limited on hanging out with them. But I still, now make the priority of still making my family, my girlfriend, my friends a priority too, because I've learned, it's just a show. You still want to go in with the mentality of winning, but at the same time, I'm still young. I don't want to lose relationships that I have with people, and especially the people that I care about. So I try and prioritize, everything, from, I need to get what I need to get done, but it comes down to, I guess, planning everything, so if I know I gotta be at something, or somebody invites me to something at night, then that means I gotta be up a little bit earlier, make my food, get all my meals in, work out at night, do my cardio, and then later at night, whatever function I gotta go to, I'll eat before, and then, go, depending how long I'm there. If I gotta eat again at night, then I'll come back home and eat again. It's just constantly adjusting to whatever the scenario or occasion is. But that's what it's been. It's been a learning experience for me, and I love it. I think when you do this, some people tend to take it real serious in the beginning, and you tend to not really think of that, or kind of lose sight of it. And that's what happened to me. I started bumping heads with people, and just because of the pressure that I kind of felt on myself, not so much anyone else, but just me putting that pressure on myself of wanting to win so bad. So yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience. And I mean, now I'm at the point to where, I feel comfortable with every prep. These last two preps that I did this year in 2019, or last year 2019, were probably the easiest preps that I've done. Not so much like physically, but mentally, everything was good in my life. Money, my relationship, my family, my friends, everything. I couldn't complain about anything. It kind of let me cruise through without any worries. It was really cool, and I look forward to this year, 2020. I'm going to be trying for nationals in August in Pittsburgh, for North Americans. Depending what happens there, then I'll go to Vegas for the Amateur Olympia. So that's my goals for this year. I'm going to try again for my pro card, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm excited. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much, my whole journey, how I started. So to anyone that, is watching this, that is, into fitness right now, or is barely starting, my best advice to you is ask questions. If not to me, any other people that have an idea of what they're doing, because sometimes looks can be perceiving. Not everyone that's in shape knows what they're talking about. I can tell you that. So, do your research on your own too. If you're, curious about learning stuff, everything's on the internet. So you can, look up different things. But if you're trying to do a show, if you're trying to do something, I would recommend you hiring a coach, and get some type of guidance. I've been with my coach for 4 years, and I've always kept him around because I've had so much success with him, and thankful for him. Freddie, thank you. He's helped me become who I am today too, not just in the gym but outside. I consider him one of my best friends now, and he's helped me not just with things in the gym but outside of the gym as well. But I definitely still need that guidance, that discipline of someone telling me, yo, you look like shit, you need to change this, or you need to up the cardio. Because you doing it on your own, you're too lenient on yourself. A lot of people have that problem. I have that problem. So it's normal. So even if you know, hire a coach for a month or buy a program online, try and get some type of guidance to where you have an outline of what to do, and you know, try and get as much information, and then like I said, after that, then you can kind of carry it on your own and see how far you can get. But yeah, definitely, you know, don't give up. A lot of people don't really know how I started, so that's kind of why I wanted to put this video out, is because, you know, I didn't start looking like this. You know, it took me a long time and a lot of hard work. I can say during these whole 4 years, I've always been on a diet. There's times that, yeah, I get off of it, and, you know, I tend to splurge a little bit and eat, you know, the normal things. But for the most part, I've always had a plan. You know, I've always followed 5 meals a day, 6 meals a day. And that's kind of what my body's gotten used to. It's to the point where if I don't have, you know, those 5 to 6 meals a day, my body feels it. And it craves, you know, that food. And that's kind of the point that I'm at now. It's kind of like I have to eat to maintain and continue to grow. But definitely, guys, you know, continue to follow your goals and your dreams, whatever you're trying to accomplish. And I hope that I can, you know, inspire you too. That's my biggest goal, is not just, you know, to look good, but to help inspire, you know, other people to try and accomplish, you know, their own things. I remember, I mean, me myself, you know, looking at other people, other guys in the gym, I'm like, shit, like I want to look like that, you know. But a lot of the times you see people in the gym, and it's kind of, depending on the gym that you go to, you know, sometimes gyms can be intimidating, so you really don't want to go up to a certain person and ask. And I've gotten that sometimes. You know, some people have told me, you know, they won't come up to me in person, they'll ask me through social media, and they'll be like, yeah, like, my bad, I don't want to ask you, you know, in person, because, you know, I don't want to be annoying, or, you know, I thought that you thought I was annoying. And no, it's nothing like that. Like, you know, I want to help you guys, I want to help people out. But one thing is, you know, if you're gonna get information from someone, use it. You know, don't just go asking around and, you know, have someone waste their time on helping you and, you know, trying to give you an outline of what to do, and then not use any of it. You know, definitely apply it to yourself and try and get the most out of it. That's my best advice. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That concludes everything that I wanted to say and go over. Thank you again for watching. We're gonna have more videos coming out. If you can drop in the comments anything else that you guys want to see, and if you can like this video and subscribe, it would mean the world to me, and I appreciate all the love and support. That's about it. So thanks, guys, for watching. Stay tuned for what else is to come, and I'll catch you later.